Hi, kindergarten and first grade teachers. This is Leanne here, and I'm going to be walking you through a Wonders kindergarten and first grade lesson planning module. So glad that you're here, and let's get this lesson going. You will need your lesson plan templates for kindergarten and first grade. I have mine with me right here as well. I'm going to be following along as I have planned mine out to be able to give you some good guidance on how to do the lesson plan. So let's get right to it. Our first thing that we're going to be looking at is our build knowledge, and that's where we have located the essential question for your students. This one for first grade is, what do you do at school? For kindergarten, yours is, how do we get along with new friends? Seems like an ideal question for kindergartners at the beginning of the year. You also have the piece where you're going to be looking at watching the video, and you're going to be talking about the video. Those are those key pieces that students are going to be engaging with what they're listening to, talking about it, because eventually we'll be getting to that place of where we will write about it. You also have, under the build knowledge heading, you also have the oral vocabulary words with that oral vocabulary routine. That is going to be a crucial piece for students to be able to have that explicit instruction on that routine for those vocabulary words. So each time they get a new lesson and they have that vocabulary, they don't have to focus on that routine because you've ingrained it in them with that routine so explicitly. You have the important pieces. Those big bullets are going to be that essential question. You have watching the video, talking about the video, and then building vocabulary for that build knowledge piece. Then we move into our listening comprehension piece, and in kindergarten and first grade, this is going to both be with a big book. For first grade, you have this school year will be the best year, and then for kindergarten, you have that yours is going to be What About Bear? I don't have a picture of that, but hopefully you're following along with me in your teacher's edition as well. This has lots of things going on here. You can see on the side that you have your close reading routine, you have your read, your reread, and the integration piece with that depth of knowledge for those DOK pieces. You have the modeling retelling, and then also you have in the corner this instructional routine handbook that you also have a hard copy of in your materials. That's a good resource for looking at those routines. In your Wonders curriculum, you have a section for foundations. We have 95 core phonics is what we're going to be using for our core instruction for foundations block. However, there is a section in the foundations pieces of Wonders that we will want to be teaching, because if it's there, we need to be able to give students access to more of these pieces, specifically with those high frequency words, because there's going to be a book, that shared read, that is going to be using some of those high frequency words, and then they'll be hearing about it in that shared read connection. And anything we can do to give more students access to connected text is going to be ideal. So we are not doing the spelling portion because you'll have that in your foundations curriculum with 95 phonics core program. However, you will be looking at that high frequency word, section. And then you also will have that shared read. Kindergarten, hold off. This is going to be where it gets a little different for K1. First grade, you do go right to your shared read. And with that shared read, you'll notice on here that they do have a phonics component and they have a comprehension component. There's nothing wrong with being able to share with students that a reteach or a pre-teach of looking at that short A sound, because that explicit instruction on that skill will be happening in the 95 phonics core program. However, but to reiterate that message here, to be able to have a first read connecting to that piece and then a reread to look at comprehension, the more text we can get in students' hands, the better. So we will be doing this component. And this is where it's going to be for lesson 1 on first grade. You're going to be looking first grade at introducing the genre, modeling and connecting, and then applying those foundational skills through the high frequency words through your shared read. We're not doing all of the components of the foundations block, remember, because we have that in our 95 core phonics program. This is just simply looking at high frequency words to connect to that shared read. Now kindergarten, this is where you're going to be coming back with me here on your lesson plan template. You will see this as well, same thing with first grade. This is where we look at that connected writing, that modeling writing piece. So we just read about something and now we're going to connect it to a writing piece. And that's where students will go into their reading writing companion consumable to be able to apply that writing piece right there. When you're planning your lesson, take a look at what is it that they're going to be writing about. What is it that I'm going to be doing as the teacher? That's the detail that you want to look at, and it'll take in your teacher's edition, take notes on the online platform, or be taking notes here in your lesson plan about what that can look like and sound like for that modeled writing piece. This is looking at, in your teacher's edition, this is looking at, I believe it is T3I. This is where you have that 5-day plan outlined, but what they want you to do right here is the screenshot is just showing you lesson 1. That's what we're talking about right now. It's just lesson 1, what are students going to be doing? And that is the same thing in your template right here, lesson 1. We just went through those components of introducing the concept with that building the knowledge, where we had that question of the week, where we had that video. We looked at the listening comprehension, that big book, which is either going to be about the best day, or the school year will be the best, or what about bear for kindergarten. And then remember, for our word work, all we're looking at is that high frequency word, because we want to in first grade connect it to that shared read about Jack Can. And then remember, in kindergarten, you're going to take it right to that modeled writing with your listening comprehension piece about what about bear. Those are the pieces that I wanted to talk with you about right now. And then what I'd like you to do is I'm going to have you go ahead and take your lesson plan template and start to plan your lesson 1. Good luck and have fun.